Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to cold January. The frigid temperatures are sweeping across everywhere, even in Florida. So anyway, today's tip is going to be very timely. And we're going to talk about how to achieve your weight loss goals this year. And we just passed January 19th, which is typically known as Quitter's Day. That is the day that the experts have figured out that the majority of people give up and give in on their goals. And so we just passed that. So if you have already quit, if your resolution or your goal was to lose weight this year and you've already given up, you already feel like you failed, don't worry. So is the majority of the population. If you're still going, even if it's not going as planned, but you're still going, you're still committed, congratulations. But either way, we're gonna talk about some small things, some simple things that you can do to achieve your health goals, your weight loss goals this coming year. We're gonna have some really inspiring interviews coming up with some success stories of people that were in your exact position, who overcame odds, some that were pregnant, some that were just fighting a lifelong, from a little girl struggling with obesity. And so make sure you're watching for them. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that. I'd love for you to join our growing community here on YouTube. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first and foremost, here's what I'll say. Are you sick and tired of starting over every January? Because that is where I was back in 2014, promising myself that this was the year I was finally going to lose the weight. I've been there. I've done that until I finally got to the point where I was like, no, enough is enough. And I did a couple simple things that really helped make all the difference and helped me go from dreaming to doing, from talking to walking, from having the vision board to being on other people's vision boards. How many of you, listen, vision boards are great, but how many of you, your transformation, think about that for a moment, that if you follow through, if this is your year, the chances are you're going to be the inspiration, you're going to be the goal on somebody else's goal board, on somebody else's vision board of what is possible. And so anyway, first thing you want to do is you want to reflect on 2024. Chances are, if you're watching this video, this isn't your first time struggling with your weight. This isn't your first time trying to lose weight. Most of us have been serial dieters. We've been on the weight loss roller coaster. We've been up and down and all around, and sometimes it's been fun, it's been scary, it's brought us to tears. Totally been there, done that. I rode that sucker for more than a decade. Legit weight loss failure, maxing out the scale at 288 pounds, spending thousands of dollars on every fad diet that came out. But you want to reflect on 2024, and you really want to be real with yourself, and you want to ask yourself, what worked? What did I do that worked last year? Because chances are you weren't a complete failure. Chances are you didn't mess it all up. Chances are you did some things right. So what worked in 2024 for you? Okay. And then what didn't work? So what didn't work? What didn't work for you? What were the things that held you back? What were the reasons you gave up, that you threw in the towel, that you decided maybe you couldn't or you didn't want to, or things were too hard? So reflect on where you were last year. What did you do well at? What do you need to improve on? What worked really well? What didn't? I just taught a whole goal teaching thing inside one of our business subscriptions on, people hitting goals and things like that. And most of the time we don't ask ourselves enough reflective questions to find out why things are going good or why they're not. We just get frustrated, we quit, we hop from thing to thing. And let me just tell you, it's never the diet. It's always us. It's always us. It's not the diet that's broken. We're never going to stumble across the right diet that's fit just for us, because every diet, every way to lose weight, everything requires work. It requires commitment. It requires focus. It requires discipline. And if we're not willing to do those things, there's nothing that's going to work for us. So every goal that you're ever going to set in your health is going to start reflecting where you're at. What are you doing well? What do you need to improve on? Okay. The second thing you need to do after you're reflecting is you need to set goals that you can actually accomplish. Set goals that are doable. In the goal setting world, they call them SMART goals, which are, things that you can we're not going to get into that whole training, but they're basically simple things that are measurable. They have a timetable. They're reachable. You can achieve them. And the way your brain works is if you set a goal that's too easy, like, you know what, I want to lose 2 pounds in the next 6 months. It doesn't excite your brain. It doesn't get you going. It doesn't like get you off the couch. But if you set a goal that's too hard, your brain also knows it's impossible. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds this month. Well, or I want to lose weight and not give up my junk food. You know, like things like that. Like your brain already knows it's not going to happen. That's a wish. That's a dream. That is a fantasy, right? And so it's important to, when you're setting a goal, to have it be somewhere in the middle, something that's going to stretch you a little bit, that's going to push you, that's going to require some work, but also something that isn't impossible, right? It's not like climbing Mount Everest. And so some examples of that, instead of saying this year I want to lose weight, maybe I'm going to lose 10 pounds by March. That gives you 2.5 months and you're going to lose 10 pounds. That's like 4 pounds, 2 pounds every 2 weeks. It's like a pound a week. Everybody can do that, right? And you see the difference. One's measurable, one's motivating. One is like, I can totally do that. So every goal you're setting, when you're setting your goals here, so after you reflect, you want to set one health goal, not a bunch, not a ton, not 4, not 5, one health goal. I want to lose 10 pounds by March 15th. Set a date by March 30th. I want to work out 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day. I want to move my body. I want to drink 1 gallon of water every single day. Set one thing that come heck or high water. It's non-negotiable. You're going to do that. All right. Don't set yourself up for failure by aiming for perfection. It's about progress, not perfection. And I cannot stress this enough. I used to be kind of like an all or nothing girl. So whenever I would jump into a diet or a new weight loss program, I'd be like, that's it. No sugar, no carbs. I'm doing this. And like, 2.5 hours in, I'd already fallen off the bandwagon. And then I was like, I'm eating a whole pint of ice cream. So I was like all or nothing, depending on which way I was going at the time. But it's not about perfection. And if you're setting yourself up to expect perfection out of yourself, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to wind up failing. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you're making forward progress. And by the way, that doesn't give you that's not your free pass to go eat a donuts because, I only ate 1 donut this week. I ate 4 last week. Like, if you happen to eat a donut, it's not about beating yourself up, but don't use it as an excuse to mess up or give yourself a free pass. But if you do happen to mess up, if you do happen to fall off the wagon, if you do have to eat something that you weren't, if you wind up, eating or drinking something you weren't planning to, it's not about beating yourself up. It's about how fast can you get back on track? How fast can you press the reset button and keep going? The fourth thing I would say to you is it's about small habits equal big wins. Small habits equal big wins. So often we think it's the big thing that's going to make the big difference. And it's really stacking the small little changes on top of each other. So maybe you worked out 30 minutes a day, you drank your water, you meal planned, you didn't go through the drive-through. You just start stacking. All those things are little things. Maybe you did your workout first thing in the morning. Maybe you went for a 10-minute walk after dinner. Maybe you swapped out soda for sparkling water. Whatever it was, it's those small little things and then doing those little tiny things and then stacking those on top of each other, creating those small habits, those small wins that turn into big wins and really big results. And so those are the things that add up. If you're just focusing on the big things, if you're just focusing on, doing all the big things and that's what's going to get you to the goal, the big things can seem insurmountable in the beginning. When we don't do the big thing, we don't see any signs of progress, and then that's when we quit. So what's one small thing you can do today, that you can do this week, that you can do tonight? Maybe it's going to bed on time so you get the right amount of sleep. Maybe, again, it's drinking your water. Maybe it's not eating 600 calories of peanut butter in a day. That was one of mine. Anyway, so what are your small things that you can do, that you can start doing, that are going to make a big difference? And then avoid the usual New Year's traps. So often, again, we can fall into the all in, I'm doing this trap. And sometimes we'll see people that They decided and that was it. But that's not always the case. And if you, again, the trap of that is it's about perfection or bust. It's about perfection or nothing. It's about perfection or I'm quitting. It's about huge results or this isn't worth it. And so you don't want to fall into that trap. You really want to, the New Year's focus is really focused on results. What you want to focus on is the work. You want to focus on the work. You want to fall in love with the work, because if you do the work, if you do the right activity, if you do the right steps, listen, if you're eating healthy, if you're moving your body, if you're drinking water, if you're, moving more and eating less, if you're reducing your calories, you're going to see results. You're going to lose weight. If you're getting more sleep, if you're drinking, whatever amount of water, minimum half your body weight in water every single day. I drink a gallon. It's what I have my clients drink. But if you're making these small changes, you're going to start to see improvements inside of your life, inside of your health. And if you want bigger improvements, make some more changes. Every small change you make brings more changes. So anyway, so ditch the all or nothing mindset. A bad day does not mean a bad year. Did you hear me? A bad day does not mean a bad month. A bad lunch hour does not mean a bad week. Like if you had a bad moment, hit the reset button, get back on track. You're not a failure just because you failed inside of a moment. And the more you resist and the more you encourage yourself, you're never going to get to where you want to go by critiquing yourself to death. This is the year that you root yourself on. This is the year that you become your biggest cheerleader. This is the year that you're like, no, I know I just did that, but that's not who I am. It was a mistake and let's go. What did I learn from that? How did I get myself in this situation? And how can I avoid it the next time it happens? The next thing I would say to you is find inspiration. Find inspiration. And inspiration can come from watching inspirational stories. It can come from watching interviews of others. It can come from watching testimonials of other people. It can come from watching interviews and success stories. Inspiration can also come from building your vision and thinking about you being at your goal, thinking about what you're going to wear to Christmas next year, your Christmas family celebration, or what you're going to wear on New Year's Eve, to be able to see it, to be able to not only dream it, but to see it, to visualize it, to see yourself, your head on the body, in the outfits, doing the things that you want to do. Maybe it's running up and down the hills with your kids. Maybe it's, getting that Mrs. Claus outfit to surprise your husband. You know the one I'm talking about. So it's really about you seeing it. Picture yourself hitting the goal. Picture yourself walking into the room. Picture yourself walking in next New Year's Eve at your goal, because it's those things. And then I want to end by giving you a couple. And here's what I want to say before I get into that. It's not just about weight loss. It's about you becoming the person who takes care of themselves. It's about you becoming the person who shows up for themselves. It's about you pausing to take time for you instead of everybody else. Most of my clients, we're really good at prioritizing other people and not prioritizing ourselves. And if you want to get healthy, if you want to lose the weight, you've got to make room to prioritize yourself. You can't keep adding things on your plate ahead of yourself and expect amazing results within your own life. You've got to prioritize your health, your decisions, your habits, all these things if you want to get results. But when it comes to that, a couple questions you can ask yourself about your goals this year that are going to help you, okay? Because visualizing it isn't enough. It is important, but here's some questions. So number one, what is my goal? What is my goal? Number two, why do I want to hit this goal? What will life look like when I lose 20 pounds? What will life look like when I lose 30 pounds? For me, what will life look like when I lose 160 pounds? Okay? Who else will this affect and how? So who else will this affect and how? And then the last question, what will happen if nothing changes and I stay the exact same? So this week, write those down. You can pause it. You can back it up. Answer those questions. This is one of those calls for some of you that you need to re-listen to, because we don't get everything the same time. When I was losing weight, I found certain things that resonated with me, and I listened and I listened and I listened and I listened. You don't have to be alone. Weight loss doesn't have to be a lonely island. There is power in numbers. There's power when you have a coach. There's power when you have a team. There's power when you can plug into other people who are doing the same things you are doing. But you are worth it. You are worth it. You are worth fighting for. And if you're watching this video on how to have your healthiest year yet, it means there's something inside of you telling you there's more to life than what you're currently living. So we are here every single Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central Time. I want to invite you to join us. We do healthy recipes, we do interviews, we do weight loss tips, and you can go all the way back. We've been here for years. You will see all kinds of interviews. You will see all different colors of hair. All different kinds of looks, from summer tank tops to chilly weather hats to, you know, all of the different things. But there's a whole ton of information here on the channel. We have some amazing cooking recipes that are great for healthy things that I ate to help me lose 161 pounds. So if you haven't looked back into the archive, make sure you do that. And we will see you back next week, same time, same place.